Hi and welcome to the following of the ERC20 smart contract, and in this part we're going to compile our project and see what problem it has, and then we'll deploy the project and see how it works. There seems to be a problem with the comma, so it's an extra comma right over here. Now let's save this, and there seems to be another problem here. So okay, here we shouldn't put semicolon, we should write comma because we're in the properties of this function. So let's save this. So there seems to be another error right here. So identifier not found or unique. So it's bool, not bools. So let's save this. There seems to be 5 more errors, so let's see where they are. Balance of, and they're all related to, okay, the value should be here underlying value, because we'll get this from the user. And here, let me save this again. What is the problem right over here? We have did you mean allowances? Yes, that is the allowances, not the allowance, because it relates to that one. Also here for this. Now let me check another time. So I think here should also change to allowances. I need to check this. Actually, here instead of the allowance we should write value, because this is the value. So underline value, and here there seems to be another one, allowances message that sender, and by value. Oh, okay, I have realized that we had this allowances here. Let me change this to allowance and finish all these errors related to allowances all over here and also here. So let me save this, and there shouldn't be any more errors. So still there seems to be a problem. Let me see. Index expression has to be a type, mapping or array is uint256. And the reason that is happening here is that actually here we need another mapping. So let me write it here, another mapping instead of the mapping, and I will explain what that is. The address to the uint256. So let me save this, and let me check here. We have extra comma, and there we go, it's been compiled successfully. So actually here we have 2 mappings for the allowance. So as you can remember, we have the message sender, the holder, and also the spender. So we have 2 addresses, the address of the holder, the address of the spender, and then the amount that should be allowed. So we have a mapping inside of another mapping, right? So this is a very good practice for the mappings that you want. And here the balance, as you can see, we have 1 mapping because we have 1 address and the value of that address. But here we have 2 addresses, so 1 mapping for mapping onto the value to spend by the spender, and another address who is the holder. So all of these 2 addresses are involved in the allowance, so we should map them all together. So by doing so, we will have everything set up for deploying the project. So now we can deploy it. Let's see how many variables we've got at the beginning. So for example, I can write this my token as the token, and the symbol NTKN. Decimals could be 18 decimals, and the total supply could be, for example, 21 million, right? So here, let me try this. I'm not sure if we can put this number of digits given that we've got this number of decimals, but it's fine, it's okay. And we're ready to test this contract. So as you can see, we've got the approve, the transfer, and transfer from. So first of all, we need to approve and then use transfer from, or we can just transfer it from the holder. So we're gonna try all of these all together, but let me first check the balance. So we should here enter the address. So if I copy and paste the address of the message sender, you will see that it's 21 million because we are the holder of all of the total supply as a person who deploys the contract. And then we will have the decimals 18, name my token, symbol MTKN, total supply 21 million. So now it's time to check approve, transfer, transfer from, and allowance. So if, for example, actually we need two addresses for the allowance, so right now it makes no sense to do that. First of all, let me transfer money from one account to the other. So for example, here I can choose the second account, copy it, and paste it over here. So this is the address of 2, and let me get back to the first address because we're gonna do this transact it using the message sender should be the person who holds the tokens, not the person who is going to receive the tokens. So we should be the person who does the transaction. So how many are we going to send? So I can say, for example, 2 million. So let's make the transaction. It's been done successfully. Now let's check the balance one more time. As you can see, oh, it's 2 million and this is 19 something. So there seems to be one more zeros when we entered this. This is probably, it probably was 210 million tokens. So that right now that we've entered, oh, that was 21 million, but here we've entered 2 million. So once we check the balance of this message sender, it's 19 million. So here we should have had one more zeros in order to be 20 million, but okay, that doesn't matter. And we've done the transfer. Now if you want to initiate the transfer from, so for example, we want to approve some kind of a spender, so the spender will have this address and we give the allowance for another 2,000, or I can say 3,000, million tokens, right? So let me change this address to the message sender, the person who started the contract, because only that address has that amount of money or tokens. So let's do the transaction. As you can see, it's been done successfully. Now we can check the allowance. Here we should enter the address of the holder. So this is the address of the holder, and the third address right over here is the address of the spender. So let's call this, and as you can see, the amount of allowance is 3 million tokens, so that's right. And now we can do the transfer from here. So let me enter the same addresses. So from the holder of the token, and also, so here we can pick another address, for example the fourth one, copy it and paste it here because this is the person who is going to receive the tokens. And then the value, so here it's true that the allowance is 3 million, but here we imagine that we want to spend only 1 million, right? So 1, 2, 3, so 6 digits, actually 7 digits with 6 zeros. And let's do the transaction. There seems to be something wrong, insufficient allowance. So let me check. I think we have an extra zero, or here we have something missing. So this is 3 million, and transfer from this address, which is the first one. Okay, and oh, there we go. We should do this with the address of the spender. So we should initiate this with the second address, who is the spender. So if you do it again, as you can see, it's been done successfully. So make sure you enter the address who is doing the transaction correctly. So the spender is the second address, right? And the holder is the first address. So the first address does not generally do that. And also the person who is going to receive it also does not do that. So that's now done. It's done successfully. But let's try one more time, and this time let's transfer it to, for example, this address, but for 3 million instead of 1 million, 3 million. And you will see that it's not going to be successful, right? It says insufficient allowance. But if we change this to 2 million tokens, again, insufficient funds, but let me change this to, for example, 1,900,000 tokens. So let me check the allowance right now. Let us check the allowance. As you can see, it's still 3 million, and it's the second address, the allowance of the value. So from this address to the other one, everything is all right. So the allowance of this address, so this hasn't been done yet. Okay, this is the third address actually, so that should do that. So let's call this and do the transaction. As you can see, it's been done successfully right now, and let's call this. As you can see, actually the first one, the first transfer from has not been done, but now it's done, and we are allowed to spend 1,100,000 tokens one more time. So let's do the transaction. As you can see, it's been done successfully, and if you check the allowance, as you can see, it's 0 right now. So that's it. Our token works, and our contract has been written successfully, and all the operations are all right. Then they work very well, and they have been tested. So it's ready to be deployed on some kind of it could be a testnet or mainnet or whatever. Our token does work. So in the future tutorials, we'll also work on the customized or more complex kinds of tokens that can be written in Solidity. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and until the next one, goodbye.